Hey everyone, this week I want to talk about positivity. I feel like I need to be really positive. Like,
well, that's good as soon as you want
yeah,
to talk about it.
yeah. But I'm like, imagine if I was like really, let's talk about positivity. Anyway, this has come up from both of us during the past few days. I think it's one of those things that's, as a concept, is got sort of two sides to it. On one side, people are like, it feels like this sickly sweet way of you putting a positive veneer over the shit things of life. So I want to sort of address that. And then the second way people think of it is, well, how do I interpret things that in my life that don't align with my desires, right? Let's say I desire to live in a beautiful place, to have a great relationship, to have abundance around me. And then these things happen that are not in alignment with that. What are you telling me? That I've just got to like be positive all the time? And I think we've got this sort of yin yang relationship with it, that this push and pull relationship with it. So I want to sort of address that. So I'll talk about one thing, and then why don't you build on it, and then we can come back.
Yep.
So I've been playing around with this, given we're in this season 2, and we're looking at now, we've been through a transition that's been driven by loss and changes in our lives. You're okay if I speak with Al?
Yeah.
And I think then what we're now looking to create is in our lives is the things that we want, what a great life looks like to us. And I think it's within that theme that I kind of want to address positivity. The thing I've been playing with in terms of a lesson from the heart is I notice every single day in my own life things happen that are not in alignment with, that are hard, that are challenging, that probably aren't in alignment with my ideal of what I would want my life to look like. Every day something happens. That's sort of the way it is. And so the work I've been doing on myself is to practice the meaning I give to the moments of life. And what I'm recognizing is that every single moment you have a choice about the meaning you give to the moment that you're in. And it's not even related to the moment that came before that. It's almost like every single moment is a unique opportunity for you to go, do you know what? That thing that just happened that I probably previously in my life would have interpreted as something that was a criticism of me or telling me that I'm no good. I can actually believe that that's in some way going to lead me towards the life that I want. And you can be grateful for it.
Mm.
And for a while there, and this is where I want to address the rational side of your brain that goes, you can't do that. That's a shit thing. You've got to call it a shit thing. Like there's a part of your brain that's like, you can't do that. Because, and this is the link between conditioning, is because we've been taught that you have to do that, right?
Yeah.
That you have to look at everything negatively. And once you realize that that's only something that you've agreed to, that is someone else's story and it doesn't have to be your own, you're like, you know what? I can actually look at everything as a positive affirmation of what I'm trying to create in my life. And funnily enough is when you do that, everything seems closer and more possible. So I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, what's come up for me, and particularly I was running a workshop actually this morning and we were discussing the trait of perfectionistic. In these workshops that I'm running, we were trying to break that down. And there was a discussion around and not really understanding what that meant. Yeah. So one of the discussions was, we held this particular, whatever it was, event, and then for the debrief, we start with what went wrong. So that took me back to a whole lot of the leadership stuff that we work with, and we talked about, well, why not look at what went right first, And I use the word celebrate, but it's not really. It is a celebration, but not in the general terms of having a drink and a party and all that sort of stuff. It's just acknowledging the things that actually did work, and then you work your way through to the things that didn't work and the things that you want to change for the next time. So we're talking positivity. We're talking about the same thing. I'm just talking about it from a different angle. And what's been working for me and what's been coming up for me in the same light as what you're talking about every moment is any time that something has happened that's challenging, I've now taken that on as something that I need to look at. So if you want to call it looking in a mirror, whatever, there's so many terms around that, and trying to find a learning from it. So same sort of thing.
It's positive.
Yeah, it's positive. So I'm now looking at, and I'm looking internally. I'm not looking at, oh no, that happened out there because of that person or that person. It's like that's happened to me now, or happening for me, with me, whatever. And I'm looking internally to see what am I meant to be learning by this. So I'm seeing that almost as a gift. It's not really a gift in the moment because something could be quite hard. Yeah. But there's learnings that are coming out of that.
Yeah, and you can be really grateful for that, right?
Absolutely.
And that's the way to turn that into something you can be grateful for, because without that, you never would have learned the lesson.
Yeah. And we were also talking before about and gratitude sort of crept in there, but sort of didn't at the same time.
No, it didn't.
Being grateful for something is one thing. What I'm talking about in this positivity light is celebrating in whatever way, even if it's just internally. It's like, man, I did a good job on that. Okay, now let's go and look at what we can do to improve that, to achieve at a higher level, rather than okay, what went wrong straight away. So I'm working hard at, and we do this in our leadership programs, I'm working hard at starting with that positive frame, and then work your way through the different things that have happened and the different focuses, the way you look at it.
I think I love that. And I think the more you can see that everything that happens to you is a chance for you to internally grow, the more life becomes less something that's happening to you or than is something that's happening for you. And so, you hear that spiritual saying going around all the time, right? Life's happening for you. This is what it means, is that every single thing that is presented to you is a mirror back to you of your own internal state. And so if you see it that way, you then are able to say, all right, well, what's the external showing me that I'm not giving to myself internally, or I'm not loving myself internally, I'm not accepting myself internally, I don't feel like I'm whole internally. And once you get to that point where you realize most of that work's been done, you feel completely whole. There's nothing more that you can you've accepted and that's what shadow work is, So in spirituality, they talk about shadow work. Essentially what it is you get to this point where you've seen all the aspects of yourself and you've accepted yourself completely and utterly. And that's ultimately the journey of life, is to accept yourself as a being, as a person, as a fractal of what we all are, right? Which is the life force of the world, and say, we're individuals and I'm okay with who I am. And then once you get to that point, what I'm talking about positivity is then there's actually no reason to interpret anything as negative, because nothing is here for anything other than your evolution, for your development. So just I think for me, going through that phase one that we went through, is that for me is the recognition that there is no reason to ever see anything as essentially negative, because it's all going to help you evolve. So I think positivity is on two angles, is recognizing that in every single moment you have a choice about how you view the circumstances you're in and the meaning you give to them. And it doesn't matter whether you've had the shittest thing or the moment before you've told yourself you're the worst person in the world. The next moment you have an absolute choice to choose how you want to be in the world. So no moment is connected to others. If you feel within yourself, you've always got that choice to choose differently about how you interpret. And then the second is realize that each one of those moments is leading towards you doing your own shadow work, which is accepting every single component of yourself so you feel whole within yourself. Once you feel that way, there's no reason why you can't be positive about every single moment, because it's all helping you grow. That's my rant.
Yeah, and bearing in mind that
Positive
these traumas or whatever it is, the challenges that come up in life can be extremely difficult.
And
so you're not downplaying that at all. It's and even in my situation, it's like, I went through that. It was, why did it happen to me? What what's going on? And all the fallout from that. But it took time, and it's still taking time. It's been 2.5 years for me, and I'm still working through those shadows, and not only working through the shadows, but identifying what those shadows are. That's the real trick there.
And I think being brave enough to look at them.
What you look for them, being brave to look for them. So having the courage to look for them, and then having the courage to be with that, and then work out what you want to do with that, because it's all a choice. It's all totally up to you.
You can choose not to look at
it. So as you said, positivity, I talk about embracing and celebrating the things that are good, that are happening, that you feel that you're achieving something with.
And I think on that, just to add, if you can't embrace the external reality, relationship, work, finances, your living situation, whatever it is, you can always embrace the internal state positively. Because even if sometimes those external things are difficult, you can always embrace what you're learning internally, either one of the two. And you'll notice sometimes the external will be amazing, but you'll be fucking learning nothing internally, because you'll be like, everything's great. So I think either one, what we're saying is positively look for the positive perspective in either space, in the internal or the external. So I just want to add to that.
And that's a good point. In my workshop again this morning, we talked about, well, okay, so I've got to this place. Well, that's great, but just don't be complacent. And one of the words that came up was, don't be cruisy about it. It's like, it's still got learning to do. And you just got to be careful that you don't slip into that as well. So it's not something, well, okay, I'm going to be positive today and that's it. It's work that you got to do.
So I think find that own version of positivity for you. Positivity doesn't mean that you are ignoring life, and that you're not in life, and that you're bypassing everything by saying, oh, it's fine. That's not what it is. It's actually about you genuinely being 100% in your life, and knowing you've got a choice in every moment about internally and externally the meaning you give to things. And in embracing that choice, you've got a different way of being in the world. So instead of being a victim, you can actually see that everything is happening for you in a genuine way. So I hope that's been useful.
Till next time.
All right.
Bye for now.
Bye.